Hello, everybody. This is episode 43 of In the Know, my daily short form podcast show, which is aimed at putting people in the know. A show where I cover a variety of topics using my experiences and viewpoints in life to put people in the know. What is the know? It's the understanding that seems to be hard for people to grasp, which can make their lives a lot simpler. Today is the following speech that is the introduction speech for the topic of today. And that introduction speech is regarding teachers overworked in our public schools. Growing up in a public school, the educators were expected to put in long hours for limited pay. Since schools were public, the value of education was quite basic and minimal. And let's be honest, you can't fully educate with the minimum amount of education. So what happens is that the educator is now motivated to perform at their job, or lack thereof motivation. And how can you blame them? When you provide them with the minimal amount of help to aim at trying to make the greatest impact in life of our youth, what do you expect? Well, I'll tell you thoughts on how we treat them. Are teachers overworked in America's public schools? Let's look at the pay scale. Educators are paid a range from 40 to 60,000 in the United States. And when you make 60,000 in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, then you're doing pretty good for yourself. But the amount of 40,000 or a little less is what you make typically in an area like that. But the 60,000 is the income closer to the city of New York. And in both cases, you are not making much money for the city you live in. So it is hard to be fully into the career when you're having a hard time surviving. So there needs to be some sort of aspect of teaching that should involve additional compensation. Educational tools. School classrooms need to be equipped with learning tools that will allow the educator to perform his or her job as well as keep the student engaged. And the problem is that a lot of private schools have these, unlike the public schools. The money we toss at other governmental needs, it's a shock that we spend so little on the education in society. We have workbooks and packets for children to write, but we could also use more technologically advanced interactive tools. The fact that kids are still not able to build apps across the board in school is a shock as well. STEM is the way of the future, so they need to understand how to use this as a means of creating, designing, and implementing. Student body size. There are a lot of schools that are overcrowded, which translates into the classroom. And the cities across the country have a problem with way too many students in the classroom. And all these cities need another school, or multiple schools in some cases, built in their environment. Even when all the students are attentive, there's still a difficult task in educating all your students as a teacher. So when there are disruptions, it messes with the psyche enough with the educator where they start to get this feeling of despair. They feel like all hope is lost because they are not necessarily affected by that one kid. It's that they have way too many heads to control. Facility slash staff, or in this case, the faculty. The support system of the schools at times needs to be stronger because let's look at the faculty of a school. These are the educators who are going to be working directly with the students, but they themselves need the help of the people working in the offices of the schools to ensure that the school is running smoothly from the administrative side of things. So both have to work in tandem with the other in order to make the school function. So when the school does not function, the faculty and staff are risking seeing themselves on the chopping block. So let's give them the support system of people to make their school work well. Extracurricular. When I was in school, I played sports in school from middle through high school. It keeps you from having to always think about school. You can live outside the school while still being connected to the place. And when a consistent amount of young talent achieve scholarships to play at the next level, then it makes the school look good. So let's work to keep them busy so that it gives them an additional incentive to go to college after high school. Location of school. There are a lot of schools in poor neighborhoods. So when this happens, you're talking about a building that may be run down or in desperate need of repair. You also have an environment where the crime rate tends to be a little higher. And with that, you have kids coming to the school from this community. And on top of the issues within the community, the students may be coming to school with problems they experience from their environment. But then, conversely, They may be needing an escape from their neighborhood, so now they need an even more elaborate lesson plan. Why we all have to appreciate our educators a lot more. My school experiences growing up were great. I live in a major city now, but the town where I grew up, people all received an adequate education. Now, whether you paid attention to the lesson plan came about due to the parents who raised their children. Because when I and my sisters were sent to school, you were to be present and in the moment. So, thank you for listening to In the Know. I can't wait to bring the next episode where we talk about whether or not our degrees apply in the real world.